Hello students, good morning class. My name is Mr. Arguello and today we're going to be learning about sign rules and double signs. So first we're going to learn about a couple of charts and rules that you need to remember to learn how to do these problems. So first let's go over the double sign conversion chart. So when you have a negative and a negative next to each other, it becomes a positive. When you have a positive and a positive next to each other, it becomes a positive. When you have a negative and a positive put next to each other, it becomes a negative. And when you have a positive and a negative next to each other, it becomes a negative as well. So these last two are just switched up. It's still the same concept, but you want to make sure that you don't get this confused with a number in the middle. So for example, some people might think that -3 minus 6 is a double sign, which it is not. Since there is a number in the middle, it does not count as a double sign. When it's -3 minus -6, then it counts as a double sign. So you want to make sure you have this example and not this one. This is not a double sign and this is a double sign. So next we're gonna move on to the sign of the answer. So 2 negatives equals a positive. 2 positives equal a positive. And 1 negative equals a negative. So this is for when you get your answer and when you don't know which sign to use for your final answer, you're gonna remember this. So 2 negatives again equals a positive, 2 positives equals a positive, and then 1 negative equals a negative. Now let's move on to the addition and subtraction sign rules. So if you have the same sign, you want to add and keep the sign. So for example, -5 minus 5 is going to equal -10 because these two have the same sign. So it has -5 and -5. It's going to come out to -10. Also, if this was a +5 and a +5, so 5 plus 5, it will equal +10. However, if you have different signs, you want to subtract the number, big number minus the small number, and keep the sign of the larger number. So for example, -10 plus 5 is going to equal -5 because the -10 is a larger number. So you're going to keep that sign and put it inside your final answer. So let's move on to the steps on how to solve these problems. So number 1, you're going to find and circle the double sign. Number 2, you're going to find that pair of signs on the double sign conversion chart. So this one right here. Number 3, you're going to replace the double sign with a single sign. Number 4, you're going to use the addition and subtraction rules. So these sign rules right here. So you want to make sure you have both of those written down again. And number 5, you want to get your answer. So let's move on to the examples. Okay students, so let's work on example 1. So the first thing we need to do is write out the problem. So -2 plus +4. And then we need to find and circle the double sign. So here it is right here. These 2 positives. So the next step we need to do is find it on the double sign conversion chart. So it's going to be the second one right here. So positive next to a positive is going to equal a positive. So let's go ahead and write it out. So it's going to be negative 2 plus 4. And then the next step is that we're going to use our addition and subtraction rules. So, which is these right here. So since it has different signs, we're going to subtract the bigger number to the small number and then keep the sign of the large number. So the answer to this is going to be positive 2. And then it's going to equal 2. So you don't have to write the positive in front of the 2, but if it helps you remember that it's a positive, then you can. But otherwise it's going to equal 2. And that is going to be our final answer. Any questions? Okay. So let's move on to the next example. So negative 6 minus negative 3. So again, we're going to find and circle the double sign, and it's going to be these two negatives right here. So next step, we want to find and identify the double on the signs on the double sign conversion chart. So it's going to be the first one right here, the two negatives. So negative next to a negative is going to equal a positive. So let's write it out. So negative 6 is going to be plus 3 now. And here's a little trick that I used to remember in grade school. I used to identify these two negatives and then this parenthesis right in front of it as a big positive sign. So I would just connect these two together to remember that it's a big positive sign. So that could also help you remember instead of using the first one on the double sign conversion chart. But if you can't remember it, then just look back at your conversion chart. Okay, so now let's use our addition and subtraction rules. So they are going to be different signs, and you're going to subtract the bigger number to the smaller number. So negative 6 plus 3, so it's going to be negative 3. And we're going to keep the same sign from the larger number and add it to our final answer. So our final answer is going to be negative 3. Okay, any questions? So for our last example, it's going to be 5 plus negative 1. So we're going to find the double sign again. We're going to find it on the conversion chart. So this one's going to be different. It's going to be the last one. So plus next to a negative equals a negative. So let's go ahead and write it out. Negative 5 minus 1. So now we're going to use our addition and subtraction rules again. So it is going to be different signs. Remember that this is a positive 5 and a negative 1. So now we're going to keep the sign of the larger number and then subtract it. So it's going to be positive 4, which equals 4 again. And that's going to be our final answer. Okay, class, I'm going to go ahead and write down some practice problems and y'all are going to work on them. Okay, students, I went ahead and put 3 practice problems on the board right here. So 1, 2, 3. So the first one's going to be negative 7 plus negative 2. The second one is going to be 5 plus positive 7. And the third one is going to be negative 2 plus negative 3. So go ahead and write these in your journals, and I'll come around and try to help y'all if y'all need any help. Okay, students, so now the time is up. So now we're going to go ahead and go over the problems. And the last one is going to be negative 5. Okay, students, so today we learned about double signs. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. So I want to thank you for your time, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Y'all are going to have homework due tomorrow on double signs. So I'll go ahead and hand those out, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.